dream of violence and revenge. That's the kind of man I am. Oh yeah, this is a long day on horrific. And the winds, here come the monsters from all the movies.
There's my guy.
Hey,
How are you?
hi.
It's awesome. Thank you so much for doing this, man. Appreciate
Yeah,
it.
no, thanks for having me.
For sure. I'm a little scrambled today, man.
You're scrambled.
I've had such a freaking busy morning.
I Zoom so infrequently, it's new every time I do it. So I have to kind of reteach myself how to do it.
How's everything over in New Jersey?
Great, great. Where are you headed out of?
I'm in California.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
How's it out there? Pretty hot. Nice.
No, it's not hot. It was windy, like 30 miles an hour wind yesterday.
Yeah.
Today it's California weather, man. Like the typical like 69, 71,
Yeah.
sun out. It's typical California day.
I'm looking to head out there in May, actually.
Oh yeah, what are you guys doing?
Possibly going up to the Redwoods.
Oh,
with
it's
my
beautiful.
wife. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah. We've been talking about it for some time, so hopefully it'll happen.
Yeah, I have a 4-day weekend this weekend from my job. So we're going to Santa Cruz, where they
Okay.
Lost Boys,
Okay.
and then we're going to San Francisco, Alcatraz,
Fantastic.
and then there's something called Pebble Beach up north.
Heard of it. Don't know much about
It has all glass beach.
it. Literally. Okay.
Yeah, and like sea glass.
Oh,
Like, the
cool.
whole beach is just no sand, all sea glass all over it. You're not allowed to take anything
No
out.
face masks, just glass.
Yeah, but we better be careful up there, because I'm not sure. Like my city is pretty liberal,
Yeah.
and we have people that are very aggressive about it. I'm sort of
Uh-huh.
worried about up there and how aggressive they would be. I mean, we follow the rules or anything and everything, but you see those stories in the news that make you sort of nervous.
Yeah, yeah. It's funny. I work down a little bit south of here, and it's all very, very Trumpy, I guess.
Mhm.
So, and I work
In
food
Jersey?
service. Yeah, yeah. There's
In Jersey?
Monmouth County. Yeah, you get down by the shore, it's like bros, like it's dudes being dudes, and yeah, they got things to say. So, all through the pandemic, I work in food service, and I just had to deal with some really crazy conversations, basically.
Yeah. I saw like something on TikTok. There was a guy over there by the shore,
Yeah.
where you're from, and he's like a homeless guy that they just record, and he's like, Byron, I hate President Byron. And I don't know, just funny.
Yeah, there's a lot of crazy stuff. There was some
Yeah.
gym owner here made national headlines because he wouldn't close his gym during the pandemic.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
He was just this big bro with a beard, and he had all his friends, and then he had they were like white power dudes showing up at his gym. Got a lot of attention out of that.
Justin, call 59.
All right. Yeah, we went down to Jersey this summer. My family's
Okay.
from New York.
Okay.
And we went to just New York and New Jersey. Took my family. It was the first time like the whole family was able to go.
Cool, cool. New York City or New York State?
All of it. We went from
All of it.
Cleveland to New Jersey, from
Nice.
New Jersey to New York City, and then my family's from Corfu, New York, upstate.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I grew up in Buffalo, outside of Buffalo. So
Oh, hold on.
yeah, I was right next to the stadium. I was like 2 miles away. I mean, I didn't go to many football games, but I did go to see the Rolling Stones and stuff as a kid.
Yeah,
It was always good.
man, it's a different thing being a Buffalo Bill fan. So if you're not a Buffalo Bill fan, I wouldn't suggest you be one. 'Cause it's so rough, like emotionally. I've shed so
I
much
just
tears.
following old friends on social media and watching the roller coaster that they go through.
I cried.
They were losing their minds.
Well, anyways, we're here to talk about Autumn Driver.
Yep.
And you guys have a new album out, a new single out. Anything is the album.
Is anything all right?
Oh, how did I have that? I'm sorry. That never happens to me. Anything all right?
Yeah, like as a question, kind of summing up everything going on over the last couple of years.
And then you also have a new single, Porch Light, right?
Porch Light, yeah. So we made a video for it, sort of. I mean, we're not in it. We don't have that kind of budget. But Mark loves to put like clips together and stuff. So he and Chris just thought this thing was the funniest thing in like old karate movies and stuff. And it was weird because it's actually the last song on the EP. So usually it's the first song or the second song, but we went with the last one on this one.
It seemed like that video is so awesome, right?
You liked it, good.
Yes. And so my life, I was born in Oxnard, California. They have a thing called Nardcore out here, which
RKL.
Oh,
I know all about Nardcore. Oh, nice. Yeah, no, I was a big fan of Mystic Records and all that. Yeah.
Yeah. And so like it brought me back to my childhood.
Sure.
Like the videos that they would make with the old movies and just clips of it. And I love it.
Did you see the one we did before with the old drunk driving footage?
Yes.
Yeah,
Dude,
that one I really enjoyed.
You guys are fucking creative as all hell.
Thank you.
And I this is one of the reasons why I wanted to bend your ear a little bit about what you guys got going on.
Nice.
So who is Autumn Driver? If someone asks you that.
Adam Driver is basically me. And it's funny, I tell the story to friends and family, is like, it's the super group I had in my head when I started. I took a break from playing music for a while. I don't know if you read our bio or saw any of our past stuff. So years ago, I was in a band called Buzzkill. We were on Alternative Tentacles. So Jello was able to put out some of our records, and that was really awesome. But then had, house and kids and some things. So I stepped back from it for a few years. And when I got back into playing music, I was like talking to friends, and I was like, who would I want to play with? And the first person came to mind was our guitar player, Mark, who also bought a house, got married, and was kind of not really doing music for a while. I talked him out of retirement because I always said back in the day when his band used to play with my band, I was always like, man, if I could play with this guy, he's just the best songwriter. He's funny. He's an amazing, probably one of the best musicians I've ever played with. And I actually really enjoy his singing style, although he hates it. So I was able to recruit him. Soon after, Justin, the bass player, was somebody I knew. I owned a couple of record stores in the late 90s and early 2000s with my buddy from high school. And Justin was this kid that used to come in all the time and buy like Black Flag and Ramones records and stuff. And we would just talk a lot. And he used to come in my bar with his wife and sit down. And I was like, hey, man, you want to play music? You want to play some punk rock? And so that was the three of us. So if you look at our first three records, our three releases, that's just the three of us with Mark singing. And then Mark was like, man, I just want to play guitar. I always get stuck singing. I want to sing backups, but I don't want to be that guy because I feel like I'm missing out on guitar opportunities. Chris was just an old friend. I briefly played in like a stoner rock band with him back in like early 2000s. Mark said, man, you think we could get Chris to sing for us? And I was like, he'll never do it. He's completely retired. He's got another band. He's not going to do it. And he asked him, unbeknownst to me, he asked him. And one night I was laying in bed and I got a text from Chris saying, hey, man, I heard you guys are looking for a singer. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe he'd want to come on board. And we did a show where we did a bunch of cover songs, like 70s rock, like deep cuts. And we had different friends come up and sing. And we invited Chris to come up and sing Motorhead's Iron Fist and the Stooges' TVI. And just, he stood out that night from like everybody else that played. And he came and rehearsed with us and it just clicked. It's just that weird thing when four guys get in the room and we're all on the same page. It was really, really fortuitous.
So when you are, you get married and in the back of your head, are you thinking like, all right, when the kids are out of the house, or when they get too old, I'm going back to this?
Yeah.
What is your thought?
Yeah, absolutely. So I stepped away from it. Well, it was also a thing. playing in Buzzkill for years. We were like touring, we're going around the country. You get burned out. I had a business, I had a fiance. I was like, all right. And then I was like, we got to take a break, and had kids. And I always knew I'd come back to it. And I came back gradually. I joined a band that the prerequisite was, hey, I'm not touring. I play a couple shows locally, maybe a dozen shows a year, just for fun, just so I can keep playing. I got a whole setup in my basement, so I would constantly have people over, and we would just jam and stuff. But now I got kids in college, so not like I'm going out on tour or anything, but I can play again, and I can rehearse a couple times a week and do stuff. So yeah, I'm glad I'm able to get back to it.
How do your kids react to your music, and what are, like, do they like it? Do they support it? Do they think it's cool, or is it dad just doing his thing?
So I have two daughters, 18 and 22. And musically, it's great. They both represent different sides of mine and my wife's musical taste. Like, one's really into like Devo and like the Units and weird new wave and stuff like that. And then my other daughter really likes like Sly and Stevie Wonder and James Brown and stuff like that. So it's a nice balance, I feel. And they kind of stay out of it, and I don't push it on them really. If they're curious about music, sure. They want to ask me about some stupid Van Halen song or Descendants song, I will tell them everything I know. I think it just kind of, if you have kids and you're really into music or anything you're into, is just going to slowly kind of become part of them too, because they're under the same roof. But neither of them play instruments, but they have a great appreciation for music. They tolerate practice down in the basement. I can put my headphones on and listen to Megan Thee Stallion. I don't know. I have no idea, but they're fine with it. It was weird that we did play a show locally, and it was like an all ages show, and my one daughter came, and it was a little weird to be like playing Lookout, and there's like my daughter kind of watching. I couldn't tell if she liked it or was just tolerating it. It was pretty loud, but it was cool.
Yeah, I love it, love it, love it. Yeah, I was you know, I'm a promoter locally, and my kids don't like it at all. Like, we had a benefit show this past weekend, and my son's like this, and my daughter's like this. I'm like, oh my God, are you not seeing the awesome music that's going on
Like,
here?
they're not getting it. Yeah.
Like, when they get, I was thinking, like, when you get older, like, maybe I'm just old. Maybe it's not cool no more. I don't know.
Yeah, the harshest criticism was one of the people I play with, I play in a couple of bands, was they were all like ganging me up going, I don't really like your singer's voice. I really don't like it. Like, I don't understand what you see in it. And I was like, oh, I really like it. And I would reference bands that I thought it sounded like Drive Like Jehu and stuff. And they were like, who? What? They just didn't get it. But then when Chris came into the fold like a year and a half ago, they were like, wow, that dude Chris can really yell. And he can really, and I was like, cool. So you see what I see. So it's
And
nice.
I like the more of in your face with your singer. I love that, and that's one of the things that sticks out to me, is he takes control of the music. He knows what it seems like I have faith in him and confidence that he's going to take me to where I need to be musically.
Yeah, it is a huge step up for us. I mean, Mark, I love what Mark does. He's great with melodies and stuff. But he fits best, what we're learning, he fits best as like a background singer, kind of like that, like Fugazi kind of dynamic, where he's just kind of adding and filling in here and there. But Chris is really dominating up front, and he's got just that awesome yell. Like, he yells in key. A good reference I always tell people is kind of the Every Time I Die thing. If you've ever watched old Dead Guy videos when he's on stage, he's quite a force on stage. Granted, he's got a guitar on, he's throwing it around, but he looks nuts on stage. And I always loved that when I used to see them. I mean, now he's just playing the front man, but it's still really cool. He can channel that.
It's amazing. Talk to me about Porch Light, the meaning behind the song, and the writing behind the song.
So I really can't, the meanings are funny because we had to write a lot of quotes for different things on the records. And I'd always go, hey, Chris, what does this mean? And he would explain it in some weird abstract way. So he said something that was about growing up a dirtbag and owning it when you get older. I don't know what that means in reference to the violence depicted in the song. But the song was originally called Donkey, and it was one of the last things we were working on before he stepped in. And we just didn't have words for it, but the working title was Donkey. It was just this cool little, quirky little fast. It's under 2 minutes long. And then when Chris came and started singing, he was singing about the Porch Light. So the working title on the dry erase board was Porch Light. And then when you get to record, you're like, well, what do you really want to call the song? And he goes, Porch Light's fine. So.
And I love that right there. The Porch Light, right? Porch is something that, do we really say that anymore? Like Porch Light? Like I remember when I was a kid, my dad would tell me, if you come home before the porch light's on, I'm fucking you up.
Yeah, you don't say Porch Light. It's kind of up there with Icebox and Dungarees and Pocketbook, maybe.
Yeah.
You just say the porch.
Or the front light.
Yeah.
Front step, yeah.
Lights on.
But yeah, that's I'm sorry, my wallet's killing me.
All that money.
No money in here. I'm a promoter. You forget it.
Oh, right.
Okay, and then let's go to the album. Anything All Right. When did you guys start making this album? Was this a COVID project?
It's a COVID project. Yeah. So we're fortunately pretty prolific. When at least the three of us get in the room, Mark will wholly show up. We'll show up with like, okay, let's work on those 5 songs we're currently working on. And he'll walk in the room. He's the guy who goes, before we do that, I have 3 new song ideas. Can we just, and then 2 hours later, you're like, okay, but we were going to finish these other things. But he is constantly inspired. It's amazing. I'm always right there, like, yeah. Show me the riff. He also comes into a room with that, like, I want to have a song that's kind of, and he'll come from like an abstract point, and we make it our own. He'll be like, the new thing is he wants to have a song that sounds like a Zeke song. It won't sound like a Zeke song at the end, or I want it to be like a Motorhead riff. It won't be a Motorhead riff, but that's our starting point. Because we try to plagiarize, but we make it our own. So this record was a couple ideas that we were just getting towards finishing, brought Chris in, and then we just went and we cranked out a couple months. We had the rough sketches of all these songs, and then COVID kind of hit, and then it got very spotty. We got into the studio in the middle of COVID, got the basic tracks down. Then there was like the Jersey lockdown happened, and then we went in with masks and did some overdubs, and then the vocals came. It took about a year to get these 6 tracks out of the garage, basically.
Awesome. What were you listening to during the time of creating this? Like different pockets of music that maybe was in your life while you were creating this album?
So it's funny, Mark and I were always like, I'm constantly trying to research music. I'm always digging for music. I think it's just having a record store for like 12 years just made me do that. I'm just constantly looking like, oh, what's this band? And oh, this band someone told me about, and I'm just trolling for bands. I think at the time Mark and I were doing, I guess the genre's noise rock. We were on these forums and we were like discovering a lot of bands. I was listening to a lot of the band, the OCs, a lot. I think they're really nutty and all over the place. What else were we listening to? A lot of hard stuff, like older, like mathy metal type stuff. I was listening to like Botch and Coalesce and stuff. Because it's just hard. It's almost like it's like listening to Frank Zappa. It's kind of like hard to listen to, but there's a nice payoff there. Mark was listening, like, I think he went through a little bit of a Queens of the Stone Age phase. Justin's all about typically Ramones, Stooges, punk rock type stuff, like your punk rock 101 stuff, Dillinger 4, things like that.
Some dude. All right. I'm going to switch gears a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you more personal questions, more easier questions, questions that get to know who you are. And so my first question is, your dream concert. You're able to book it. You are the promoter.
Oh, I'm not playing it.
You get, if you want, you get to pick 4 bands, alive or dead, that you would like to have on this concert, who are you picking?
All right. Fishbone in their prime, possibly. Devo in their prime. Poison Idea. What's another great? I'm just trying to think of great shows I've seen or just show. God, I wish I was at that show. Slayer, classics like Rain and Blood, Slayer, possibly.
There you go.
I could go on and on and on, but yeah, those would be four off the top of my head.
That's a good one.
I didn't say the Beatles or Nirvana, sorry.
What is your mom or dad's signature dish?
My mom, it's funny, I talk about this a lot at work. My mother was an amazing Southern cook. She was from Texas. So I don't know if that kind of set me up for my career, but I work around food and I cook mostly in the house. Her signature dish, it's kind of cheesy, but like she did like Southern fried chicken, really great. And she was really good at making like cakes and baking as well.
What kind of breadcrumbs or, you know?
She just did flour, salt, pepper, maybe a little garlic powder, and just right on top of the stove there, and 2 inches of Crisco. I was able to make a mess and stink up the house, but man, it was good.
I should start using Crisco again, huh?
She was old school. I mean, yeah, she would save bacon grease in a jelly jar and use that every now and then for certain things, like lard, I guess.
Yeah, my grandma used to cook a lot with Crisco when I was younger.
Yeah.
And then when I got older, I just vegetable oil or just oil. Yeah,
I'm vegetable oil guy, but I'll tell you, if you use margarine or Crisco, if you're baking cookies, completely different.
Is
I
it?
learned that from my wife. Yeah, they're better. They're fluffier and they're butterier. For some reason, something about margarine is better than butter when you make cookies.
I'm gonna
try it. Definitely try it.
Thank you, my man. I'm gonna use that. What are you streaming video wise at the moment?
Oh, say that again.
What are you streaming video wise at the moment?
Like what am I watching? Like shows?
Yes.
I'm in the middle of the Lost in Space reboot right now with my daughter.
I watched the first season. It was pretty good.
Just finished the first season. It was great. It was really great. And about to watch, I mean, it's not streaming, so to speak, but Nightmare Alley I have on deck, which I'm going to watch with Bradley Cooper, Kate Blanchett. And I just watched Don't Look Up, which I thought was really enjoyable.
That was pretty good, huh?
Yeah, I liked the ending. It wasn't the ending that Hollywood would have made, but it was good.
I like it. Let me see. What is your motto in life?
My model?
Motto.
Oh, so want to steal Spinal Tap quote, but it's not that deep. Without thinking about it too much. So I was working in a restaurant in Staten Island. It was a pretty rough environment. It was pretty insane. It was stressful as all get out. I hated the commute. Clientele was really rough. Everybody was loud. I worked with 15 guys named Anthony or some version of Anthony.
I got 3 of them in my immediate
had
family.
an Italian last name. They liked me because I had an Italian last name. But there was one day where things were just going crazy, and this kid, I forget his name, just standing next to me at the computer, and he could see I was on the verge of just losing my shit. And he just goes, man, it's just not that deep. People come into this job and they're freaking out over stuff. It's just not that deep. And I don't know why, but that just really rung true to me. So like I use it all the time when people are like having meltdowns, my kids, friends, just like, if we overthink a song at practice, and we're like, well, we got to try to make it interesting. We got to add all these. No, it's not that deep. Get in, get out. The Minutemen, they didn't sit there and think about how many parts they could put into a song. It was like, there's the inspiration. It's a minute and a half long, back and forth. We're good. We're done. It's not that deep. And you can just apply it to pretty much anything.
I'm absorbing
Road
that.
rage. I always think about it with road rage when people are freaking out. I'm sure you see it a lot in California, definitely in New Jersey, New York.
And they're just a bunch of assholes out here, man. Just let them be assholes.
In traffic. You guys
Yeah.
have the slowest moving traffic ever.
Man, during the COVID time, it normally takes me like 2.5 hours to get to Anaheim.
Mm-hmm.
It took me 45 minutes.
Yeah, yeah. I used to love driving home during COVID because I work about 45 minutes from my house down by the shore. I would just fly. I would just fly home like 85 miles an hour. Nobody stopped me. It's great. And then now I'm back to sitting behind people.
Feel you. I have a question for you, man.
Yeah.
And I know it has nothing to do with anything. I'm just curious. So when we went into a city, we went into this tunnel. We paid $22 to go into this tunnel. Is that the
Yeah.
only way in the city? Or is that just like a
There's
shortcut?
bridges. There's like, you can take like bridges and get into Brooklyn. You can go into Brooklyn and stuff that way, but you're still going to pay. That's a $12 bridge. And then you're going to hit another. It all roughly, you can jockey around and save $1 or $2, but yeah, no, it's a lot. And the crazy thing is now I hear a lot on the radio, like Holland Tunnel's closed. You're like, Holland Tunnel, all of it? You know, because there's multiple tunnels, but they'll close it for things. There's a big project that's going to start on one of the tunnels in the next year or so. So I don't know how that's going to affect, but you got to know a lot of people in Jersey, we don't even go to New York. When I toured and I was out in California and Nevada or wherever, constantly people are like, how far are you from New York? Do you ever go to New York? I'm like, sometimes. I mean, when I was a kid, I go to CB's and see punk shows, but New York is so expensive. You know, you can't park, everything's a fee. It's a headache. I always end up having to take like people visiting or family. They're like, hey, can you take me to the city? And I'm like, I guess we'll go to the museum or whatever. My daughter goes to anime conventions in there. When she was little, I'd have to take her in, but it's a bit of a hassle.
It's expensive, dude. Just
Oh,
to
it's
get there.
crazy expensive.
I mean, you're looking at maybe, $75 just to go into the city and park.
Oh, easily.
Yeah.
Easily. You don't get a ticket because you thought you were sly and you parked somewhere you shouldn't have.
They'll get you.
Just to go in and just walk around Times Square and, eat a meal in the city, that's ridiculous too.
Yeah. I have 2 more questions.
Sure.
What habits are you trying to break?
Talking shit. Always working on that one. I talk a lot of shit, and only as I've gotten older, it's really, my mother cursed me with that because when we were little, we're like, Mom, like, have a filter, like, whatever, like, whether she was old school racist too, so there was that kind of thrown into the mix. But I just noticed it from just growing up, being in bands, being very social, and being out working in bars and stuff, just talking shit, and I'm always trying to like break that habit. That's the number one. And obviously diet. I mean, I don't really have too many vices that are evil. I don't smoke cigarettes anymore. Yeah, I mean, dairy and ice cream and pizza. I could eat pizza 7 days a week. It's good. But yeah, I'd
Especially
say
out
talking
there.
shit.
Not
I
California
like-
pizza. California pizza sucks, dude.
You guys thought pineapple was a good idea.
Was it us? I hope
I
not.
thought it was California.
Ugh.
Ham and pineapple. I mean, I'll eat it. Hey, if it's the only pizza on the table, I'll eat it.
Not me. My son's all about that, man. I'm not a big pineapple dude.
Yeah, there's so much pizza around us. A lot of it's really good. It's funny when people are like, hey, you want to go get Domino's? I was like, what?
Yeah, fuck that.
It's a thing. It's a different food group, really.
I also want to say, like, that's funny that you're like, there's 4 guys named Tony, because in my family, like, literally, my grandpa's name's Tony. I have 2 uncles named Tony, and then my grandfather's brothers, there's 2 people named Tony. Like, and it's like, oh, Anthony, Tony,
There's Tony 1, Tony 2. There's
T.
Anthony. We had Anthony because his mom worked there, and that's the way she said it. With like that Staten Island accent. So yeah, that was working in Staten Island was a trip. We literally had like 5 Anthony's working at one time. All
right, and then my last question, and before I get to it, I want to say thank you. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your art.
Thank you for having me. This is great.
And good luck with everything. You guys are amazing. Keep up the creativity. Keep up the good work. And we here support you. And the last question is, if you walked into a room with everyone you've ever known, alive or dead, who's the first person you're looking for?
Everyone I've known. Probably my mom. My mom's the only person kind of like went, and I was like, oh, I felt like I needed more time with her. And I was not even married. I was like in college when she passed. Kind of sudden, not a surprise, but kind of sudden. She lived life to the fullest, we'll say. So she didn't really take great care of herself, but she had a good time. So probably my mom.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, my man, Mike, I just want to say thank you. Thank you so much. And I look forward to hearing more of what you guys got to offer.
Yeah, we've got a whole batch of new stuff going on. It looks like the pressure's on me to start getting us some gigs happening. So I'm looking into Philly and Brooklyn, some things like that. So hopefully, fingers crossed, we can play some shows. It's funny because every band, and there's a bajillion bands in New Jersey, are all like rushing to get these gigs, and everybody's playing a million shows. And I'm like, maybe we should start playing some shows and get out there again. It's been a year and a half, I think, since we played a show. So, but we have new songs. I'm just really glad people like yourself are digging the record. I'm really happy. It's probably one of the most I'm most proud of that I've done, and I've recorded with a lot of great people in my life. But it's really awesome.
My man, thank you so much.
Thanks, Tim. I appreciate it.
Good luck with everything, and we'll see you soon.
Talk to you soon. Thank you.